Hey friends, so for our first lesson today we are going to read a story called Tally Cat. And if you remember when we were in school, we did a lot of different activities where we used tallies to help us count. And so that's kind of what this story is going to talk about. So go ahead and listen and see if you can remember anything about tallies. Tally Cat Keeps Track by Trudy Harris and illustrated by Andrew Harris. Tally McNally was an alley cat, but more than that, a tally cat. He kept a tally all day long of who was right and who was wrong, of who was tall and who was taller, of who was small and who was smaller. And when all things were said and done, Tally McNally always won. He went scratch, scratch, scritchy, scratch, scratch. One day, Tomcat, splattered with rain, plopped in a chair and began to complain. "I'm soaked to my skin. No cat is as wet." But Tally McNally said slyly, "Not yet." 10 drops for you and 16 for me means I'm the wettest, you'll have to agree. Then he stood on a box and announced with a grin, "I'm Tally McNally and I always win. Scratch, scratch, scritchy, scratch, scratch." "No way," shouted Tomcat. "I say you're a cheat. To settle this fairly, let's meet in the street." Tom dove in a puddle and rainwater rose over his chin to the tip of his nose. He jumped to his feet and declared, "Now I'm wetter. Admit it, McNally. I'm wetter, I'm better." "Not true," replied Tally. "The score is now tied. You're the winner out here, but I won inside. So scratch, scratch, scritchy, scratch, scratch." "I'll do even better," they heard Tally utter, as Tally McNally slid down the gutter. "Stop!" shouted Tomcat. Kitty yelled, "Wait!" But sadly for Tally, their calls came too late. He went scratch, scratch, scritchy, scratch, splash. "Help!" shouted Tally. "I'm stuck in the drain. I don't want to be wetter. I'm sick of the rain." "But how can we help you? You're so deep below." "Just run and find Boots. She's the smartest, she'll know." Boots stretched toward Tally, then said with a frown, "I can't reach him either. He's much too far down. We need someone taller." But who could that be? From below a voice came. "Stripes is tallest, you'll see." They went search, search, searchy, search, search. Stripes stretched and he stretched with all his might, but Tally McNally remained out of sight. "If Stripes cannot get him, none of us can," Boots said. Then she added, "We need a new plan. We don't just need taller, we also need smaller." "Well, Kitty's the one," they heard Tally holler. "We need smallest and tallest and smartest, and yet we still need another. He'll have to get wet," Boots whispered her plan as they stood in a huddle. Then one by one they all lay by the puddle. Paw in paw they formed a long chain and lowered poor Tom down the dark, dank drain. Stretch, stretch, stritchy, stretch, stretch. "Hooray!" they all shouted. "We finally got him," and out of the hole together they brought him. After high fives and hugs they waved to McNally. Then back in the alley he made one last tally. He went scratch, scratch, scritchy, scratch. Scratch, scratch, scritchy, scratch, scratch. Have you ever used your fingers to help you count? Using fingers is one way to keep track of the number of things we are counting. But sometimes the items we are counting total more than our 10 fingers. Tallying is another way for people to keep track of things they count. Tally marks look like this. Does this remind you of using your fingers to count? To tally, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, tally, cross, 5. Each tally line represents one thing that we are counting. We can continue counting by adding more tally lines or marks. 6, 7, 8, 9, tally, cross, 10. The next group would be 11, 12, 13, 14, tally, cross, 15. Then, when we count groups of tallies, we count by 5s. For any leftover marks, we keep counting by 1s. The numbers below end with a group of 3, 16, 17, 18. With tallying, we can keep track of more than one thing at a time. In our story, on page 5, Tally McNally kept track of his cans and stripes cans. Each time a can was added to the two stripes pile, Tally added one mark by Stripe's name. Each time a can was added to Tally's pile, he added a mark by his own name. This would have been a great way to see who was taller, if all the cans had been the same size. But that sneaky Tally scrunched some of his cans. That way he could add more cans to his tally, make it look like he was taller. Can you tell how he tried to trick Kitty on page 6 so that his tally was smaller? So the end of that story included a little mini lesson for us about tallying and what tallies are and how Tally the cat used them in the story. I remember when we were in school, we did a tally of the color of shirts that we were wearing. So we had a couple options, maybe blue, white, pink, and we would put tallies for how many students were wearing that color of shirt. You might remember that. So now that we know what tallies are, I want you to challenge yourself and do a little activity. So in the story, Tally chose different things that were all around him to tally. He used the people around him as competition. He used things that were happening to them in their lives, different things around him to tally about. So I want you to choose one thing that either you do during the day or you see during the day, or maybe you hear it during the day, and tally it each time that you hear it, see it, or do it. You can tally all day long, or you can just do it for maybe the morning time or just a little short time, and see how many tallies you get. So what I did was I did tallies for sirens. I live right next to a fire station, so I hear the fire trucks and different sirens a lot. So I did a tally for every time that I heard a siren. I only did it for a short time, but so far I have 1, 2, 3. Okay? I'm sure there will be plenty more throughout the day, and I'll keep tallying those and see how many I have at the end of the day. But you can choose anything. You could choose, if you like to eat snacks, you could tally each time you have a snack. Or if you go outside, you could tally how many times you go outside, or anything like that. Just make a tally. You could also turn it into a game if you wanted, like Tally did, but maybe make it more fair than Tally did. But you could play a game and tally each time you win versus how many times the person you're playing with wins. Anything like that. I just want to see how well you are tallying and what fun things you come up with to tally. Okay? Have a great day.